Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. Alright folks, here we are in a rare weekend video heading into the trading week of November 8th. Wanted to take a look at 23andMe today. Now, I've been tracking this largely on my Twitter, this cup and handle that 23andMe had put in and then has just resumed this off to the races. Pretty parabolic move from this plus 16.88% up day that we saw on October 15th. So I wanted to check in on the daily chart, see what we might look for in the days and weeks ahead to the upside, to the downside, and then check in on the data, see where things like the short data sits at this point and things like that. So let's hop right in. Now, before we get into this daily chart, I would mention that the first link in the description below is a crowdsourcing survey or form that I have. Folks have been wondering about a Patreon, and I would still continue to do my free YouTube videos. Let's keep that very clear. But if folks want additional content or charting throughout the day during the trading week, I would need to put something in place to sort of replace some income because of the time that would take and whatnot. So I put together a little survey to get folks ideas of what they would expect, and what that would look like. And I have 30 responses so far. Once I get to 50, I'm going to condense all the info down and sort of give it a good look and see if it looks like something that would be interesting. And if so, tackle it at that point and decide to move forward or not. So we're getting close. So if you have thoughts on that or that could be interesting to you, please go add your 2 cents there after the video is done. Again, first link in the description below. So here's our big cup and handle. Now we're putting in a nice hammerish looking candle today, and yeah, I mean, look for candles typically toward the bottom, right, as a reversal. But certainly after the run up that this stock has had over the last month or so, up over 57% in the last month, that's a really nice candle to still be forming toward the top of this. Now, to my mind, here's the 1248 sort of top of the cup, right? This was a pretty clear cup. It put in this pretty brief handle. I was willing to take a handle all the way through this purple box, which would have signified a 50% retracement from the low to the swing high at that time here. And it just barely dipped some wicks in there and then just took off. So that's when I added and took some positions myself. Now, it does look to me like it's potentially forming another cup, because if you see, there's just another cup to be had here, right, from this candle that stretched up to 1355, right? So that's the next order of business in my mind, is to kind of put in a top of the cup look here. Could potentially be a little bit sooner because of the secondary candle here, the candle that came the day after it. Plus, this is mostly just wick activity, so pretty low volume, potentially on the wick side of things. Now, what I would look for, if it is going to put in another handle here, we can get rid of this. Well, I'm going to keep this at this point because I want to sort of reference back to it down the line if it continues to put in these moves. So I would look for this low here on this handle of 11, and then go ahead and catch our 1334. What I'm looking for is, if it is going to put in a handle, I don't want it to come down any further than the 50% retracement level. Now, I guess to actually make this make more sense, I should put this to where the top of the cup would be. Now, if the top of the cup doesn't actually, or if this move up doesn't actually stop at 1343, then we can come kind of rejigger this a little bit, but this will give sort of a pretty solid estimate of where I'd look for the handle to come in. So I look for it to come in, just shy of the 23.6 retracement level, all the way down to the 50, but no more than that. So this is the next purple box that I'd be looking at if it comes in and makes another cup and handle. And like I said, that's if it stops and comes back right off that 1343. But the other possibility is, there's enough upward momentum here that it just kind of blows the top off of this one. It certainly doesn't have to, and it could have done the same thing here, right? It could have done a blow off type move. but it retraced and gave us the cup and handle. So sort of another question here, is it going to kind of blow off through the top here? Is it going to come in and put a handle? If it does come in and put in a handle, does it actually put in a handle and then take back off to the upside, or does it catch some sort of bearish momentum at that point? What does that actually look like? So if and when that starts to take shape, I'll certainly be tweeting about it. Maybe I'll be putting it on my Patreon at that point. Maybe I'll be making another video about it, what have you. But $13.99 is the next level I would look for to the upside. There's pretty solid support and resistance levels here that flipped back and forth several times on both ends of this move up to $18.16. And, just to be fair, it stops just shy of a $14 level, which any of these dollar markers are kind of psychological pressure points for traders, I would imagine, and could play some role in some folks kind of like balking at that 14 level. Similarly, you could see stronger support around the 13 level, folks not wanting it to drop below that sort of symbolic or psychological level as well. If it is able to creep up above that and put in its cup and handle and move from there, I would look for this to be the next sort of resistance level up, 14.61. So pretty solid, for a stock that's this low in price, having a 60-ish cent move between resistance levels, it's pretty solid. Now, if it does need some support to the downside, we'll put in a couple. First of all, I would just say that this box sort of encompasses that, right? Any area within this box could be seen as just overall support, or overall sort of, if it's putting in a handle, this is all okay, in my opinion. If it does fall below there, there's a pretty tight end right around $12. So that would again make sense psychologically, but you have this gap here that was flipped to support right at that level, support confirmed there. And then prior to that, you have this choppiness here that was flipping back and forth from support to resistance. And then same thing here, resistance that flipped to support, resistance that flipped to support, and then support that flipped to resistance just the next couple of days after that. So pretty strong level there, with a lot of folks wanting to poke in and out at that price point. So that's what I would look like. That's what I would look for on 23andMe, whether it puts in a handle, blows off the top, or falls back down and needs to catch some support to the downside. On the data side of things, we talked about this really incredible month that it's had. On the short interest side of things, a bunch of stuff jumps out to me here. Obviously 100% utilization. So if shorts wanted to legitimately borrow more shares to sell, they couldn't. They're all on loan already. Cost to borrow is not nothing. For sure, 27.52. If it were really going to put a lot of pressure on shorts, I'd look for that to get closer to triple digits, to be honest, or at least up over 50. Days to cover quite high, 5.13 days to cover. These are all per Ortex's estimates, of course. Short interest coming down a little bit today to about 12.34% of the free float being shorted, again, per Ortex's estimates. So over 10%, which starts to appear as though it's putting some distorted selling pressure onto the stock. Days to cover quite high. Also will sort of infuse the appearances of distorted selling pressure into the stock. So in the face of all that, it's continued to run up is incredibly impressive, and definitely holds the potential for squeeze. It has the elements in place: utilization high, over 10% on the short interest percentage of the free float. Cost to borrow is at least in play. It's not amazing, but it's at least in play. And those are the strong elements to effectuating a squeeze. The obvious fundamental requirement is that this price keeps going up, right? So as long as that pressure is continued to put on, then it definitely holds the potential. But to be seen. This has had just such an incredible move already. I'm just interested to see what happens from here. It's always an interesting endeavor to try to put out there your hypothesis or your thoughts of how this might evolve, and then just see what happens as it actually takes shape as the days tick by. All right, folks, well, I certainly wish you the best of luck if you're in this one or if you decide to jump in, and I hope that you have an enjoyable weekend and a great trading week ahead. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.